Hey, how's it going, Pixar fans? Dan Taylor from danthepixarfan.com here, and since yesterday was Coco's 4-year anniversary, all of the memories from when the toys were released and how fun it was collecting the merch all came flooding back to me, so I thought it would be fun to take a detailed look at Mattel's original 2017 line of Coco action figures. This is actually a review I meant to get up way back at the time of their release when I was reviewing all the other Coco toys, but I just never got around to it. So what better time than now to celebrate Coco's 4th birthday yesterday? And since these have long been opened since I reviewed them in my written blog post years ago, I obviously won't be actually unboxing them today, but here are my blog post photos featuring the figures in their original packaging, just so you can see what they all look like brand new. Okay, let's get things started here with Miguel, given that he's the film's main character, of course. And as you saw in the packaged photo, this Miguel also came in a 2-pack with Dante, which was a great deal since you got 2 characters here for the standard price of one of these figures, which was $9.99 at Toys R Us back in 2017. So overall, I love this line. I consider each figure pretty great since I honestly really love their sculpts, their accessories, their overall quality and sturdiness, their play value. It's all excellent, so I won't be really discussing what I love about each and every figure here, just to simplify things, so just know that they're all very solid. Also, they essentially all have the exact same points of articulation as far as the human and skeleton figures, so I don't feel the need to describe each one. I'll go ahead and talk through Miguel's points here though, just to start things off, but then just know that the same applies to, like I said, all of the human and skeleton characters. So yeah, each figure's head can rotate 360 degrees. They have ball-jointed arms there at the shoulders. The elbows can bend and rotate. And then what makes these figures stand out from the others that Mattel has done recently is that they all have not just rotation, but also flexion in the wrists, which is really cool, so they can bend back and forth. Mainly, I think this was added so that the characters could be better posed playing the guitar accessories, but whatever the reasoning was, I really love that touch. All of them do have 360-degree rotation at the waist, the only exception being Hooded Miguel because of an action feature, which I'll cover here shortly. And then yes, naturally, this all applies to the opposite side of the figures as well. The legs can move up, they can move back, and outward as well, just like with a lot of Mattel's newer figures. This bit of posability is practical here with this line though, as it helps them be able to ride Papita, which I'll show at the end of this review. And lastly, of course, we have the knee articulation on both sides. None of these figures have ankle articulation, and that covers it as far as posability. 12 points of articulation total I counted, and Miguel here does stand at about 4.5 inches tall. Okay, now that we have my initial thoughts out of the way, let's go ahead and breeze through the rest of them. Alrighty, here's Dante, who again came in a 2-pack with the Miguel figure that I just showed. Dante is about 3.5 inches tall. His head can rotate 360. He's got that rubber floppy tongue there, and all 4 of his legs can be posed out as well. So for Dante here, he's got 5 points of articulation. I did just cover Dante in detail in one of my latest videos where I review the new 2021 Mattel 7-inch scale Miguel and Dante 2-pack, so be sure to check out that one for my additional thoughts and comparisons. Next up is Hector, who I consider to be an exceptionally sculpted figure. He's 6 inches tall and comes with a guitar accessory that he can either hold, which I'll show in a sec, or wear as shown here, and a removable hat. Okay, now let's go ahead and speed things along and take a closer look at the figure and all his posability. Oh yeah, and I can't forget, here's a closer all-around look at the included guitar accessory. Next up is Hooded Skeleton Miguel, who stands at about 4 3/4 inches tall, and he comes with his homemade version of what he believes at the time is Ernesto's guitar. It's the custom one that he crafted in secret. You can see how it's all patched together there. Again, I love how these figures can hold their guitars and that they can be posed to look like they're actually playing. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, this is the only figure that has any kind of action feature, so I'll show that shortly. By the way, I did also share my thoughts on this figure recently and showed it in action when I compared him to the new 2021 Skeleton Miguel, just like I did with Dante, so check out that video review if you haven't already. But yeah, I'll show off his posability here real quick and then show you all just how this figure works. Okay, here we go, the best part of the figure in my opinion. To activate the spinning head feature, just rotate the waist and his head will swap between his regular human face and skeleton face with every turn, which is super fun. This is what I meant when I said Miguel's waist rotation was the only exception here, since while it does rotate halfway for the action feature, it can't be rotated 360 like the rest of the figures here. Oh, and lastly, since once again I didn't really show it off in too much detail before, here's a closer look at his guitar accessory. The next figure in the lineup is the stunning and vibrant Alejandro Dante. Now, this is mostly the same sculpt as the standard Dante. He still stands at 3.5 inches tall. The only real differences being, other than all the added colorful patterns of course, are that he now has his wings, and his tongue is solid plastic here and not a wiggly rubber material. Other than that though, Dante has the same 5 points of articulation, his head, and his 4 legs. I initially thought that the pattern in the middle of his back was an Easter egg reference to the Pixar ball. To me it looks like an Alebrije version of the iconic ball design, but I had it confirmed that this is not the case and that it wasn't intended to be the Pixar ball at all. I guess it was just a coincidence that it looks like it, but that would have been real cool if it was. Okay, moving right along to Mama Imelda here with her included microphone accessory. Imelda is 5 3/4 inches tall and is another all-around fantastic and detailed figure. I'll go ahead and give you a quick spin here for a 360-degree look. And the standout detail on this one for me is that the bottom half of her dress and her leather pouch on the front there are a flexible, more rubbery material, so I really like that. Of course, her microphone accessory is directly inspired by her big musical number toward the finale of the film. It's funny, looking back now that I think about it, I guess the microphone could have been considered a spoiler for letting us know that Mama Imelda does come to terms with accepting music and even ends up singing, but I hadn't even thought of it like that at the time, so it didn't really matter to me. Anyway, moving along here, now let's go ahead and take a look at all that great posability. And now for the last of the 7 basic figures before moving on to Papita. Here we have Ernesto de la Cruz, who stands just over 6 inches tall, so he might be the tallest. Again, he has a removable hat, but honestly it can kind of be a balancing act keeping that thing on, which is my only slight criticism, but it's all good. Really nice detail in the hat itself though. Again, like with the others, I love that he can hold his guitar in a slightly more realistic way, which makes him look extra cool when on display. His guitar is different from the one that comes with Miguel though, since this is obviously supposed to represent Ernesto's, or actually Hector's real guitar, not Miguel's homemade version. They are pretty similar looking though, but I still wanted to give you a closer look here. Okay, let's go ahead and play a little with his posability like usual here, just so you can see it for yourself. And then we're going to move right along to Papita, the final figure in this scale. And here we are, we've arrived, the last figure in this collection. Unfortunately, I do wish the line had continued on with a second wave, but at least we got the core group of main characters here. Anyway, here's the pretty large Papita, Mama Imelda's spirit guide. Papita is about 13 inches long from nose to tail, and has a wingspan of about 12.5 inches wide. This is seriously one super cool figure. I absolutely love her colors, her details, she looks really amazing. Her wings can be posed, she has head articulation, it can be moved slightly up and down and then all the way around. Here's just a quick detailed look at the underneath as well. It's all so well done. And then her last points of articulation here are her tail, which can be moved up and down, and then her legs here, which can all move forward and back as well. And as you can see on the packaging, this is my photo that I took for my original blog post review. It does say her wings can flap, when in reality, it's kind of misleading. It just means that her wings can be posed. I do wish that she had actual flapping wings, like a button or some kind of mechanism that would make her wings flap on her own. And some lights would have been cool since she does glow in the film. And heck, some sounds would have been sweet too, but as it is, I really like what Mattel did here. And then one of my favorite aspects is, like I mentioned earlier on, is how the other figures can ride on top of her as well. That's just awesome and adds a lot of play value for kids when they're reenacting their favorite action-packed moments from the film, and it's just a really neat way to display your collection as well. Now to wrap things up, I know we're 4 years after this collection's release at this point, and Mattel is already updating a lot of these characters with improved sculpts in their current 7-inch scale line, but if you're a big Coco fan who missed out on these back in the day, I still highly suggest tracking them down. It's a very well done assortment of figures that I feel still holds up to this day. My 2-year-old son Aiden, who's a huge Coco fan, he's been obsessed with playing with them for like the last 6 months, so it really shows that they do appeal to both kids and collectors alike. I mean it when I say it, they're perfect for play or display. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. As always, I'm looking forward to your comments down below. And if you did enjoy this review, I hope you'll consider giving this video a big thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more Pixar toy news and reviews from my personal collection. Don't forget to ring that bell. Find me all over social media at Dan the Pixar Fan, and I will see you in my next video.